I'm Connie Moser. I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Nights at the Round Table. My guest tonight is Diane Latvala. Diane, welcome.
Thanks
for coming.
Thanks for having me here tonight.
I'm excited to talk to you about the International Foreign Exchange program. And you can just start anywhere you like. You could tell me the whole history, where the program began, or if you want to start at birth, you can do that.
Okay, I guess I'll start with, I currently work for Forte International Exchange Association, and they are located in Falls Church. I've been with them about 19 months. I'm retired from Potomac Centera Hospital. I was there for 27 years.
Really?
I was the IT director, and I've lived in this county since 1974. So I've been here a long time. I'm originally from New York State. And once I retired from Centera, I took an early retirement. I wanted to go full-time into the exchange business. I had worked in it part-time for several years, and it's just so rewarding. So I thought, this is the way I want to go. I've had my career job at the hospital, taking care of IT 24 hours a day, all the computers there, and I just decided it was time to have a fun job. So I do work for Forte International, and we operate under the rules and regulations of the Department of State. And what we want is to have the kids be safe while they're here, and just to have a wonderful time. One of the ideas that the State Department operates under is, hold it, I forgot, is public diplomacy. And public diplomacy, what that means is the Department of State wants the kids to come here, have a good time, and go back and tell their families and their friends about the time, how nice the people are in the U.S. and what a great time they had. And hopefully that can move us towards world peace.
That's an interesting concept and a wonderful way to interact. I really know very little about this program. I think it's intriguing, and I've known people who have hosted foreign exchange students, but I honestly know very little about it. Do you have to know the language?
No. All these children come here knowing English. They've practiced it for years, some as many as since they started school. And they want to improve their English because they know in their future, if they have a good idea of how English works and good use of the language, they can participate more in international business, things like that. If they don't have the English language, they may be limited to just working within their country. And so they come here so they can improve their English. They want to learn about our culture. And we teach them about ours, they teach us about theirs. So it's sharing recipes, and it's sharing holidays and all those kinds of things. These are high school kids, and it's been their dream for years in most cases for them to come here.
So how does the exchange student, well, first of all, I'm going to assume since we're using the word exchange, do we send American students in return? Or is that just a...
Well, that's what the Department of State would like to happen, but we have about 29,000 students that come here, high school kids that come here each year to go to school for either a half a year or a full school year, and then they go back, and we probably don't send more than maybe 1,500 or so abroad the other way. We used to have, the Rotary really helps with that. They tried to, I remember when I was in high school, they sent kids over, and some of my classmates went abroad, and then they would send kids to us. And so not too many kids want to go anymore. I don't know why it's pushed. It's not pushed by the schools. They're willing to go for a couple of weeks or maybe a month, but they don't want to go for a semester or a school year. Because one of the things that you don't see in other countries is the school spirit that we have here. You don't see school colors. You don't see a mascot. No football, no homecoming, no proms.
Wow.
So when these kids come here, they get involved in all those school activities, and that's what they really love. And right now we're in the time when kids are going home. It's the end of the school year, and we have kids crying, we have parents crying. We even have a Harley guy that's broke down 3 times the other day at the airport, you know, when a student was going, because they get so attached to them. But they have had lots of English, and they are a little bit nervous when they first come here about opening their mouth and speaking. So they can only go into a family that has English as the main language into the home. And then they just continue to practice it. You know, they might not have their tenses right, or, you know, like they won't say funny, they'll say fun. And they'll say different words, and so most of them are fine when we correct them. And they go home just with all kinds of confidence, more maturity. They've had to endure either a semester or a full school year here without their parents and friends.
Do they continue their line of studies that they were doing at home? Is it just a continuation, or is our school system so much different that it's more like an addition to their regular curriculum?
Well, some of the kids, like the Asians, they might go to school till 6 o'clock at night or 6 days a week. They're way ahead of us.
Wow.
But it's really supposed to be a continuation where we offer them the core classes, the English, the science, the math, and the history. And then after that, we try to make sure they take something that they can't take back in their country. You know, whether it's mechanical drawing or even nutrition or something, you know, something different for them, chorus, dance, something. And so they just come here and fall in love with our schools. And a lot of them don't want to go back. They just want to see their parents and their friends for 10 minutes and come back.
Oh.
So they just, and what some of them try to come back here the next year as a private school student and pay tuition. They can only come as a public school student for 1 year.
So is there grant funding available for this, or who can afford this? Do you have to be wealthy to be a host?
No, to be a host, no. Or you mean to send kids over here?
Either.
Okay. The families that send kids over here, I wouldn't say they have to be wealthy, probably middle class and up, and because they do have to pay a program fee so that somebody takes care of their kids, processes the paperwork, supervises them, checks out the host family. Also, there's the insurance. They have to have insurance before they come here. And the natural parents, send monthly, like a monthly stipend to the students. So that might be a couple $100 to $300 a month, so that they have their own money to pay for school lunches and their clothes and their toiletries, and if they want to go out with friends and so on. So that type of money all has to come over. And so it's a few $1,000s for kids to come. I don't think there's a whole lot of regulations in the international countries about what they charge on that end. Okay, so it's probably competitive, and but the host families here just have to provide a bed, not a mattress on the floor, but a real bed, and they can share a room with someone of the same sex and near the same age, but they can never share a bed. Okay, so to be a host family here, you'd have to have the bed, you'd have to have the desire to help someone. And we have people that host for various reasons. Some host because maybe they want to learn another language, okay? We have families in the U.S. that have adopted Chinese kids, and mostly girls. And so we deal with that group of people, and they normally want to host a Chinese girl. And so we put that together for them, and then their little ones can learn the language and their own customs from back home. People might host because they have an only child, and they think, wow, my child's going off to college. How are they going to deal with a roommate?
Right.
Some, maybe they have ancestors from a country like Germany or somewhere, and so they want to learn something about the language and the customs and the holidays. Some people just host to help out, you know, and so we want to make sure that our host families do open their house for the right reason. They don't get paid. The Department of State does not allow them to get paid. They can take a small charitable tax deduction each month when they do their taxes. And we can't pay them. The kids can't pay them. It's just the American people are wonderful people.
That's great to hear.
So that's why they do it.
What about medical expenses? What happens if there's well, I'm sure there's routine medical care, but what if there's a major, emergency, or someone has to have an appendectomy or something like that? What happens?
The student cannot get on the plane to come here without having insurance in place.
Oh, I see.
So they have a policy. If they don't have a policy through their parents that will carry over to the U.S., then our company will put one together for them. We'll help them get insurance. It's just a requirement of the Department of State. We can't, we can't deal with it if they come here and go back and there's all these medical expenses. So
what about driving? If they drove in their home country, can they drive here, or? Well,
they can't drive in their home country because when they come here, they're typically 15 and 16. The majority of them are. They're coming younger now. And we have some 17-year-olds and not very many 18-year-olds. So they don't have licenses when they come here. For example, in Germany, you can legally drink beer at 16, but you can't get your license till you're 18.
Really?
So, yeah. So we have it a little twisted here, I guess. That's what they tell us. So we don't let them drive here. It's just a safety issue. if you come from Germany, in Germany you have to pay at least a couple $1,000s to get a license. And so the Germans want to come here and get a license, but that's not something we really support. We can't have them driving host family cars or because of insurance issues or friends' cars. We just tell them driving is not allowed. We do let them take driver's education, but if they should somehow get a license while they're here, we take it until they leave. We hang on to it. So we just don't want them driving.
It just seems like such an awesome responsibility to host a child and know that you're responsible for someone else's child for 3 months or 6 months or
5 to 10 months.
5 to 10 months.
A semester or a full school year. It's a lot of responsibility, and just in the last couple of weeks, we had the explosion in Waco. Well, we had kids in Waco. I was going to a meeting, but I was on the phone. How are our kids doing there? They were okay. And then Sunday, another call about a boy that was in the tornado zone in Oklahoma. But within 15 minutes, his host father called me back and said they were okay, which is. And then we had Monday where we had 9 kids in the Oklahoma area of the hurricane, but none of them were hurt. But that's always something that we have to worry about their safety and well-being, and because these are somebody else's kids. Just like if I sent my kids abroad, I would be worried if they had these types of things going on there.
Absolutely.
So it's a big responsibility.
So how many children did you say you place?
We have the right paperwork from the Department of State to place 380. So
just through your agency?
Through our agency. And so we will place, I think we have 367 to place for the fall, the upcoming fall semester. And then next January, we'll have the other 13. We have like a license. We have paperwork to do 380. So we'll get the rest of them in January, and they'll go January till June for the most part. And we can't put those kids in Prince William County. They don't accept second semester kids here. So, but we do have other areas of the U.S. because my field is what I call them. My team is all over the U.S. And so we know what schools will take them second semester. Usually the schools that have block scheduling. It's pretty easy, to move a student in. Other schools that don't have block scheduling, here you come, you're a teacher, and all of a sudden a student shows up in January. It's a little bit more difficult. So we know where the block scheduling schools are.
Do you find that children, you said that they're pretty far ahead of us, ahead of our school system. Do they feel like their experience is enhanced or limited by being ahead of the class? Does that?
Well, I think they're proud of where they are, especially, let's say, the Asians in, especially math and science. Okay, they're just way up there. A lot of them are academically, because they've had to go to school for so many more years. And when you come from those countries, your job in life is to have good grades and to get educated. You don't know how to do your laundry. You don't know how to do really anything. And that's the thing, is when you get kids from that part of the world, they need a little bit more help, because they're not used to doing anything around the house. They're just focused on academics. And then you get the Germans that come here, and a lot of the Germans can lead our English classes. They have got such good English. Now, they won't write very well because their sentences won't be quite right, but their skills are very good because they've had English for so long. So all these kids come here knowing English, and that's the thing, is to practice it, to get better at it so they can write it better, and so they're comfortable speaking it. Okay, so that's one of the big reasons they want to come here.
Well, we don't in America typically, in other countries I believe they teach their children from early grades more than one language, but in America we don't do that. We really mostly don't start till high school. Now I think a little bit earlier, but when I was growing up you took Spanish or French in high school, or if you were Catholic you might take Latin.
Right. True.
Yeah, but other countries start from the beginning, from first grade on, and I think that's really a smart thing to do. And I read not too long ago that if we were really clever, we would all be studying Chinese because that's the largest population segment, and because China is a world dominant in trade and industry and business, that we would all do well to learn Chinese. So do you, excuse me, do you also place from your agency also places American students?
We will. If a student wants to go abroad, we will take care of that. We've been asked to do a few, but just we don't get asked very much, and we spend so much time focused on taking care of the kids that are coming in that it seems like the ones that want to go out, they'll let us know if they want to go, but we don't actively go out and do a lot as much as we should recruiting those.
Probably not much time.
No.
I imagine by the time you get one group of students here started and installed, it's time to start working on the next.
That's true.
Is that about right?
We already have an application for a student that wants to come in September 2014. And somehow it got into the 2013 database, and we just figured out, oh no, that's for the following year.
Wow.
So the student has already submitted their application.
So what would you recommend for, you obviously need host families, so what would you like to tell our viewers about?
Well, I would like to tell them that it's a wonderful experience. It doesn't end when the student gets on the plane. We have hosted over 20 students, and they come back and they visit, or we can see them on Skype or Facebook. And once they're in your home and they leave, then you kind of watch them. You watch them finish high school and go on to college and graduate school, and their marriage and their children, and just everything. It doesn't end. So it's a wonderful experience. The kids change so much from the time they get off the plane and the nervous little shy thing, and then a lot of them will open right up. I've seen them in school plays, singing in concerts, and all kinds of performances, and it's just amazing how those kids can grow. And even though they might cry because they're homesick, maybe when they first get here, or maybe at Christmas if they celebrate Christmas back home, or whatever holidays they celebrate back home, we might go through the homesickness again. There are tough kids. They're tough kids. They can make it, and you just keep encouraging them to make it. And then they're just so amazed about themselves and how much they've matured over the course of time. So a family can play a big role in that. I mean, not only can they learn a language and learn about different holidays in different countries, and because we try to get the kids together too, and then the host family can see, oh, well, you're hosting one from Spain? I've got one over here from Thailand. And they start talking to each other and learn about different customs, and it's a wonderful thing for us all to learn about different cultures. And like I said earlier, it's all about hoping we can get to world peace, one student at a time. And we can do that if we can understand the differences, and that's what we do when we host, is understand. So it's a very worthwhile experience for a family.
I want to thank you very much. We're going to have your website, I'm sure, posted on the screen behind us. It's www.forteexchange.org. And I really want to thank you for coming today.
Thank
you
you
are a
very
wonderful
much,
guest.
Thank you, Connie.
And
I appreciate it.
thank you to our viewers for joining us today. And thanks to our producer, Bill Golden. And we will see you next week right back here at Knights of the Round Table.